Hi guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Anime Podcasters. We're giving Hotshot a bit of a break. He's been working really hard outside of the podcast, so he needs some time to relax. So for this episode in July, I have something very special I have planned for events like this, a backup plan in case. Today, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be reposting an old side anime podcast that I did almost 5 years ago with my good friend Ben. Him and I went over what occurred after Light Yagami's death in Death Note. This episode was recorded all the way back in October 2016. So you'll see that we talk about stuff that was happening around that time in the Death Note universe, such as the live action Death Note that came out in 2017. We do talk about that towards the end. In total, it's a 27-minute conversation. And after that, when we come back in present time, we'll tie it all in with the Death Note one-shot that came out in 2020. Because it's also something that occurs after Light Yagami's death, so it ties in well with the topic of this episode. Because Hotshot is not feeling well, I'm taking my chance. I'm gonna do a Death Note topic. I never get to do a full Death Note episode, so I'm gonna take this opportunity and talk about Death Note because it's one of my favorite series. Just a reminder, Hotshot will be coming back in the next episode. He's gonna be all in good shape, and I cannot wait to have him back on. It's lonely without him, I have to admit. And also, coming down the pipe, we have a very special episode with GoProKyo, who is going to be leading it regarding retro animation. It's going to be a full-blown thing. It's going to be a big production. I guess that's basically everything I have to announce. You can follow the podcast on facebook.com/animepodcasters. So enjoy this 28-minute long conversation with Ben, my very good friend that he's been on the podcast multiple times before. And we'll come back to present time afterwards, and we'll tie it all in with the Death Note one-shot that came out in 2020. My thoughts, my summary of it all. All right. Here we go. Enjoy. Hi, guys, and welcome to a special side anime podcast. I am back with my very good friend I used to do Indecisive People
with. Your side friend.
Oh, no, you're not my side friend. I used to do Indecisive People talk with this guy. And just maybe if you're like the last person who's heard about this, I'm not doing that podcast anymore. It's way more anime content here. But that doesn't mean that Ben can't come back and join us. Ben, how's it going, buddy?
Doing good.
Are you excited for this podcast?
So excited.
Ben, I think that's the loudest you've ever been on any.
I have.
On any podcast ever. That means.
Shut up. Let's do it.
All right.
No. Thank you. Yeah.
So,
Hi, Isaac. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited about this podcast. I had this idea a while back, and I was like, I still want Ben on. And you're like, well, maybe I could do this one. I was like, we're doing this one if that's if you can maybe do it, we're doing it for sure.
All right.
So, in this podcast, we're going to be talking about what happens after Light Yagami's death in Death Note. And what's special about this is that not a lot of people know, but the Death Note manga actually continues after Light dies. Like in the anime, after Light dies, it's the end. The finale is Light's death, and that's it. Also, this is going to be very spoiler heavy if you haven't noticed yet. I know I'm kind of like saying this kind of late. But just so you know, we're going to be talking about a lot of spoilers. Sorry if we already spoiled you and you came across this video, but this is something we've really wanted to do. So it's a year after January 28th, 2011, and so we got Matsuda and Aido
just walking down the street. Yeah, talking about whether it was right or wrong to do what they did, get rid of Kira and stuff.
Yeah, and like Matsuda was very much like, "Are you sure that was the right decision? Are you for sure about this, Aido?" And Aido was basically saying like, "If Nier doesn't win, we're dead." So yes, it was the right decision to make.
They were just discussing the morals behind everything because he was killing criminals,
right?
But he was also killing. Plain and simple. He was killing people.
Exactly.
And he was also killing anyone getting in his way, meaning not so right, not so morally just.
So basically what happens in this like chapter of the manga, we're talking about like some sort of drug bust is what's happening if I understood properly.
Yeah, I don't think the drug bust is very important right now.
No, it's not.
I think it was just a way to like introduce L. Yeah. Or like make him contact them or something.
Exactly. And basically Nier is the new L, and he decided to act as L and take on the responsibility of L. So Aizo and Aido get contacted get contacted, and they drive back to the
Headquarters, I guess. Some sort of
on
office.
the manga was described as the National Public Safety Commission.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool.
So, and they get there, and there's this new character, I think, that get introduced. But I'm jumping the gun.
Oh, a new cop.
Yeah, a new cop gets introduced.
He was just unimportant though.
Yeah, he wasn't really relevant in the whole story.
It seems like he's the new Namatsuda.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, do this.
Do this, do that. But something really interesting happened here. Matsuda was saying like this theory that could have happened, because in the manga, apparently after Light's death, Mikami goes to jail, and 10 days after, that's when he dies. That's when he dies. And so the theory that was proposed by Matsuda is that basically since Nier had the original Death Note, he would have written down in the Death Note like,
make Mikami go to the warehouse and try to kill everybody with a non-functional Death Note without testing it,
and then
kill him when he's in jail 10 days later.
Yeah, and which is a pretty solid theory, if you ask me. Do you think that's from a scale of 1 to 10, how possible do you think that is? Because I think Nier is obviously very smart, so he's very smart, so he's able to he would be able to come up with that kind of plan. What do you think?
He could, but I don't think it was necessary. I don't know, actually, because apparently Mikami is smart or something, and he probably would have tried. I'm not sure.
How can Mikami be smart if he leaves the Death Note in a bank?
Well, it's in those bank vaults that no one's supposed to have access to, so kind of.
Oh, especially not the police, eh?
Yeah, well, listen. He didn't know he was being tailed, I guess.
Oh, it was just, I don't know.
He thought, oh, I am safe, no one's onto me, and I'm dead.
Basically is what happened. And so after and after and Ido is saying basically after all this and after the Light's death, it's impossible this happened because both Death Notes were destroyed, so there's no physical proof that this was written down in the Death Note, so we can't necessarily account for this theory.
Yep, but new Death Notes always spring up.
Oh, obviously new Death Notes come. So they make their way to the police headquarters, and that's where we meet the new character Yamamoto. Any thoughts on Yamamoto? Anything? He was pretty
filler, useless.
Yeah, he was like a filler character. He just kind of shows up, and he doesn't believe them about this talk about Death Notes and Shinigami. That's impossible.
So them aren't over it yet, but they still work with it, even though they don't believe it.
Right.
Well, they do believe it, but it's just not very plausible or anything, and so it's normal that he would think that. He's not the one who's been working on it for 6 years or so. 3 years plus 1 year ago.
Right. And finally, after this, after they meet up, we have this final scene in this chapter where, well, now Ben's telling me the person who's leading this, what would you call this?
Exodus? I don't know. Just a big worship in the mountains. Yeah, gathering in the mountains.
Yeah, so this gathering...
Everyone wearing these white robes.
Exactly, and it's happening in the mountains.
Candles.
And they have candles out for Kira, and at the end, it's Misa. You're saying it's Misa, and she at the very end.
Didn't Misa survive and stuff? I thought she was still alive.
Because what I understood from the research I did is that a year after she finds out that Light dies, she commits suicide, and the way she commits suicide, sorry, the way she kills herself is that she jumps off a building.
Oh, I must have missed that. I don't know.
But that's something I found from, I don't know if it's canon because I found it through some Death Note fact YouTube videos.
Oh, okay.
So,
but I mean, even if it's not Misa, probably just for some symbolic value,
right? And so this lady who she does look like Misa. It could
more or less.
It could very easily be Misa though.
Yeah.
They have this gathering in the mountains, and they all bring out candles. At the very top of the tallest mountain, she puts down this candle. She prays and she says, "Kira, our savior," and that's how that chapter ends, and that's how Death Note ends in a sense. So that's and at the very end it says, "Thus concludes the story of Death Note."
But there's chapter 108.5.
Yeah, But there's a chapter at the end of that. But before we jump into that chapter, what did you think about this like chapter as a whole? Like as you like read through it before getting on the podcast.
I don't know. I feel like it's just a short follow up. Just like, okay, where's everyone at? Okay, that's what they're doing. Not much. Just like life as usual, pretty much. And they did discuss that. I think it was Edo and Matsuda or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
they
whole
did.
life as usual. Is everything really back to how it was?
And
'Cause
how
there's
there's, like,
still these groups online going, oh,
Kira's taking
Kira's back, taking a break,
Exactly,
or blah,
yeah.
blah, blah, or is he really dead? So this post-Kira thing is different from what it was before Kira, of course, but
Right.
like it's still life as usual. Life
Exactly.
goes on, people go to work anyway. It's just more talk.
Now let me ask you this: what do you think happens if Light ends up winning? How does this and we had a follow up chapter? What do you think is going down? Because basically, from what I understand, everyone who knew about the existence of the Death Note would be dead at that point.
Yeah, okay, so they're dead. Now no one's chasing him. He would just keep doing his thing. He would not, like, go public or anything.
No, obviously not.
He's already being worshipped. It doesn't mean he doesn't need a face to this stuff, this worship. It's like, keep worshiping me. You have a name. Just follow that. Let me do my thing.
But I feel
And
like
he wanted a just world, you know, no crime or anything. So he would have had a lot of work throughout his life because humans are just little assholes. We're mean. We're bad people.
okay. What I think is because after L's death in the first season of Death Note, Ryu goes, "Oh, now that L's dead, there's no more opposition. It's gonna get pretty boring around here."
Yeah, to the contrary, we're going to build a new world or something.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now basically it's the same scenario happens because the opposition dies again in this alternate universe. So I feel like Ryuk would also be like thinking like this is going to be boring because all Light's going to do now is kill. He might as well just kill Mikami too. He doesn't need him anymore.
He would have.
Yeah, he would. He probably would have killed off Mikami. And
Yeah, for sure. No loose ends, dude.
Yeah, no loose ends. You're right. Especially with leaving the Death Note at a bank kind of loose end. Don't even get me started. And yeah, I just think that Light would keep doing his thing, and but I do think that like Ryuk would get very bored at this point and probably like try to kill him off.
Well, they do say so as well. That's in the next chapter, though.
Right. So this final chapter is the appearance of C. Kira. So it's been 9 years.
Cheap Kira.
Cheap Kira, for those who did not know. It's been 9 years since L was killed by Kira, and it's been 3 years that Ryuk has killed Light. Kira. And so, basically, what's happening is that Japan has fallen from number 1 to number 6 in life expectancy, and this new Kira appears, and from the internet, he's getting this information of people who are 65 and older, who are on their deathbed, and who want to die. And so what he does, he decides to just kill off only those people.
Yeah, it's similar to the whole, like, posting criminals' faces with their names.
Oh,
So-
definitely.
Yeah. And the whole, like, life expectancy thing is because all of the elderly people are dying, right?
Right.
From this guy. Or girl, but it was a guy.
I don't know if it was a guy or a girl. It wasn't, like, described, I think. I don't think that his gender was, like...
There was a he.
It was a he? Okay.
Or several he's.
So...
It's like, he just drew a whimper and then he, you know, what's going to happen later. Anyway.
Right.
We'll
And so...
mention it later on.
So, Nier gets like finds out about this. He finds out that somebody else is doing killings, and he's saying, I don't have to deal with this. This is like not something I'm interested in.
Well, he confirms to the rest of the people who suspect it's Kira. He's like, yeah, it's definitely him.
Oh,
or,
for sure.
Well, it's definitely a Death Note anyway. He'd rather not call him Kira.
Right, because Kira, this is like a cheat version of Kira, so that's
It
why
is.
he calls him C Kira. Which I don't know. When I first saw this, I was like kind of hopeful in this because I've always been Team Kira when it comes to Death Note. I was like hoping maybe Kira could like some sort of way like win. I don't know, but I know it was like impossible. Nier's like dealt with the Death Note before, but like it is true that it would be way tougher to find out where this person is, because I mean this person is most likely aware of that little coup that L did in episode 2 of Death Note with going public and being like, try to kill me now, and then he already finds out where Light is and all that stuff.
Okay, you're in Japan. Cool.
Thanks. Know where you are.
Freelo.
Basically. And we do get a little flashback of Elle answering questions at the Whammy's house and with
Yeah, that's pretty
Nair.
much like how Nier and Mello got selected
Basically, yes.
to become successors of L.
Yes.
Basically, all the kids gather up around the computer screen. Oh my God, it's L! Let's ask questions. And then, Nier was probably making a puzzle or something, and Mello probably eating chocolate in his corner and glaring at someone.
Right. Do you want to kind of talk to us about what was going on? Because we do switch back to the Shinigami realm, and we do get the introduction to the king of Shinigamis and everything. And there was a bit of a trade with apples and all that stuff. Do you kind of want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think he was mentioned a few times actually. The king.
Yeah.
Throughout Death Note, or not throughout, but once or twice anyway.
Yeah, he was.
Ryuk mentions it, but yeah, basically, I guess he has a bunch of Death Notes, or he can make them or something, and so someone just went to the human world, went to Earth, got a bunch of apples, traded 13 of them for a new Death Note that he could just give to someone.
Exactly, yes.
And yeah, that happened.
And that Shinigami who did that was Midora, and Midora gives those apples to the god, the king of
A little
Shinigamis,
trade.
and gets his Death Note, and then selects a human to give this Death Note to, and so this person does all these killings and everything, and then we get to this all night debate about Kira.
Another broadcast on what's the show? What's the TV channel again?
Sakura TV?
Yeah, on Sakura TV, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, leave it to Sakura TV to give you a good old Kira broadcast after 3 years. Light's been dead, right?
Yeah, typical
Sakura TV. And so what's going on is that there's this obviously they know that Kira can kill with just the face, so they have the screen,
face and name.
Yeah.
Or face apparently.
Yeah. And so at this point, the crowd goes crazy, and they find out about Kira being back and everything. So they go crazy and they're like, "Kira, please kill me!"
Yeah, all the supporters are like, "Oh, kill me, please kill me!"
And so
they probably think it's some sort of divine thing.
Power out there. Yeah,
it's "Oh, kill me, and I will go to heaven or to Kira world, Kira land."
Exactly. I mean, people are crazy, man.
Yeah.
And so after that, all these people basically
they remove the whole censorship in front of their faces just so they can get a shot at being killed.
Yeah,
apparently.
And so these people start dying and everything. And as this happening, we have Matsuda and Aido and all the police officers
the
seeing
reaction.
this happen. And then after all these people start dying, they cut off the broadcast, and L comes on.
Just before that, though.
Yeah?
About the people dying, does that mean that this Kira made the ideal so he could just kill them on live TV?
Yeah, he does have the Shinigami eyes, because I mean he doesn't have, because the way he was killing some people before was getting their the files of their names and face.
Yeah.
And so basically after that he can't know what their names are just by seeing their face, right? He needs the eyes if he does that. So for sure this cheap Kira did make the ideal. I'm sure he made the ideal. It's
just surprising how...
Yeah, he did. The Death Note Wiki confirmed. It's just known that Sekiro made the trade for the Shinigami eyes. So yeah, he does have the eyes.
Yeah. It's just surprising how little they even touch on that. The only reason we know he made the deal is because these people died on TV.
Right.
But it was such a big deal in the entire Death Note series, the entire ideal, because that's half your lifetime.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
This person just didn't care. It's okay, I'll kill elderly people. I'll die.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I won't grow to their age. I'm fine. I'm just preemptively doing what I'm doing to them.
Right. And so after the broadcast cuts out, we get L showing up on the TV screen. And what does L say exactly, Ben?
Talks about a few things and how he doesn't approve of this Kira, or doesn't even consider this person to be Kira. He just has the same means. That doesn't mean he's the same person or thinks the same way or does, has the same ideas. And he says he's just not going to get involved because this person's just not worth it.
Right, which reminds me of like that third. I think it was like the third episode of Death Note when they're like, we're gonna bring L on the move on this case, and then like this police officer comes out. He's like, I've heard that this guy's very selfish and will only do cases he's really interested in. So he really does like continue the existence of L. You know what I mean? Because L is selfish in that sense that he's only gonna do cases he's super interested in.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely does.
Smartest person on Earth, probably, or not far from. Yeah, sure.
Right. And then like Nier's saying like, let me say this, like, I didn't just come on to say that I'm not interested in this case. I also wanted to say that you are an can you say that?
Oh, they made a mistake in it. Wow, nice. Abominable murderer.
Abominable.
But they did abominable.
Oh my God, they did. Oh wow.
Abominable murderer.
Just basically your.
I think that was just to get like a reaction from the Kira.
Obviously, that was the exact
Yeah.
point. And then we got in the next scene, we see that like Kira flinches. It just stops right there, and basically, Kira stays and doesn't move for 3 entire days.
That's mentioned later by
Midora, yeah.
Midora. Okay.
Yeah. And basically, what happens here is that Kira, after 3 days, ends up writing his own name down in the death note.
Was that like after the forecast or the broadcast?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he just sat there like some vegetable, considering things, I guess, milling that over in his brain.
Which is, it's got to be an intense thought, for sure.
Being called a murderer.
Well, no, like killing all these people and then getting called like an abominable murderer.
Yeah, I guess. They do talk about how you need a strength of will and stuff in order to
for
do
sure.
all these killings for starters, and then just take it. Yeah.
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 So Midora comes back to the Shinigami realm, and then Ryu's all like, what are you doing here so early? What's going on right now? And then he's saying he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it, and he like thought like things were getting really interesting, like when he started doing all those killings. And then Ryuk brings up Light Yagami, and he says, and he remembers that Light would say, in order for a human to use the death notes, they need to be like strong spiritual strength. They need a strong spiritual strength and conviction, and basically that the human that Midora picked was very weak.
Yeah. Well, Midora was just like, okay, here's a random human. You want to kill people? Here, let's kill people.
Yeah,
but like Ryuk spent some time on Earth, and he was like, "Okay, well, no, he actually
just randomly dropped the death note.
Yeah, he just dropped his, but it fell in the right
super
hands.
Lucky. It
fell in the right
hands,
but from following Light for like 6 years,
yeah,
or maybe a bit more, like he's learned a lot of about humans.
Oh, for sure, yeah. So. And then Midora was all like, "Oh, you're really lucky! I can't believe you figured out like to find such a good human. Like I need more luck like you do." And then that basically,
yeah, you can keep talking. I just want to check this part.
And basically that kind of concludes the story of Kira. You know, at the end we see Ryo eating an apple, and then and then like Midora explains how he, like after those 3 days, like he basically wrote his own name and killed himself. And yeah, anything you want to add to that, Ben?
I don't know. I seem to have I read it, but I missed this last part where Ryuk gets offered some notes from Midora.
Yeah,
because Midora's like gotten bored, and it's like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. You seem to know what it takes, so here's notes. You want some? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So maybe he goes back and like finds someone after this.
Maybe. I mean,
that'd be cool.
It's not 100% canon. I did want to talk about like the characters a little bit. Midora was a pretty cool design I found. He reminded me like kind of like Pac-Man, how he's like really circular. I don't know.
He has weird things on his head.
Yeah.
Are they holes? Or are they?
I think they're just like.
They look like rocks.
Yeah.
It looks like he has magma head.
Yeah, kind of. And then we got the Shinigami King. We at least got to like to see what he looks like.
He looks weird. He looks like he's some sort of like immobile thing that's chained to the ceiling or something.
Right.
I'm not sure. The old fart.
Yeah, the old fart. I remember that. And finally, I did want to talk about something like Death Note related. So there's gonna be a Death Note movie.
The live action adaptation or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I hope they do it properly.
Oh, me too. Me too. So basically, it's the last update was September 10th, 2016. The cast is pretty like much out there. Like, I mean, we got everyone out there. Storyline and everything. I'm on the IMDb right now, and so it's planning to come out in 2017. What are your thoughts so far for this?
I don't know. I haven't looked at much of it, but
High hopes.
Yeah, I have lots of hopes.
Oh, me too. I'm happy. I hope. I saw that they're filming all this in like Canada. They filmed in Vancouver and British Columbia.
Oh, yeah?
So
Nice.
that was really cool. And I did see some pictures. Some pictures were taken like when they were like filming in Vancouver, and we got to see like L, who's being played by Keith Stanfield.
Okay.
And it's like basically the way it looked, it was that he had like a tissue covering his like his entire face except for like his his eyes basically, and it was very interesting. And then we got like some really cool characters. I'm really excited for the actor who's playing Ryuk. I think he can do a really good job. His name's Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
And he's played in a bunch of other movies. He's played the Green Goblin in Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man. If that's like an indicator, it was that guy. And I think like he looks like he's a perfect match for Ryuk.
He looks like he has the Ryuk face.
Yeah, a bit, and he looks like he has like he has great voice acting skills as well. So I look forward to that. I don't know about Nat Wolff playing Light Yagami because
I don't know them. And
remember the Naked Brother band on YTV?
Yes, by name.
Okay, well he played in that.
Okay.
So yeah.
They're changing the name to an American name.
I know.
Light Turner.
Yeah, I know. That was kind of like I don't understand it, but you know what? Like I'll give it a shot and we'll see.
Yeah, looking like some of that Dragon Ball stuff right here that you remembered.
I don't want to remember.
I've never seen it. But
I don't want to
flop.
I don't want to remember that. I don't want to. That's not fun. That's not fun times, man. That's not friendship.
Who's Mia?
I think it's Misa.
Oh,
but they're gonna call her Mia Stutton.
Really? Do they really have to change all the names? It's like, oh, here, let's take your idea and change it.
I know they kept Watari the same.
Yeah, but that's because it's like it's not his actual name.
Right.
So they just kept they're gonna keep L because hey, it's L. They're
probably
gonna call the other one Kira too. You know, they're not gonna call him like Killer or like Death or God. No, they're gonna call him Kira. And they kept Ryuk. Good thing, at least, like by name. One
thing I'm fearful for this anime. Remember Fantastic Four?
Yes.
That movie was like a big flop. It was, the movie's bad when like Stanley doesn't make an appearance in it.
I guess.
Anyway, apparently one of the directors of that movie is going to be directing this movie. So that was kind of not good. Not the best news there.
I guess just seeing the name Turner instead of Yagami is kind of turning me off right now.
We'll see. I mean, I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna go into it with an open mind. It's gonna be released on Netflix, so at least you don't have to like go to the movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Basically, because the Batman versus Superman didn't go as they expected it, and so Warner Brothers was working on this movie, but they dropped it and it got picked up by Netflix.
Oh, nice. Netflix might be able to do something good with it.
Yeah, I hope.
Except change names.
I mean, and I remember how like at the beginning they were trying to make like light story about revenge. I wasn't like feeling that too much. So we'll see. I mean, guys, go check it out. I'm sure if you just do your little research, I mean, you can go on IMDb. There's all like the news articles like updated about this movie are there. Just look up Death Note 2017 American movie. I'm sure all the information you'll be able to find will be there. All right. Let's close this out. So thank you guys so much for checking out this anime podcast. I'm going to try to do some of these like side podcasts more often because I really enjoy doing them. Ben's going to be on a couple of them, I'm sure, if we find some good topics. If you want.
Yeah.
You're always game.
I mean, I don't watch many anime, so if you hit something that I know of, sure.
All right, cool.
Let's do that.
And I mean, we have anime podcasters with Yuki going all the time. I got a bunch of anime remixes in the work, so make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I'm gonna see if we can maybe get the podcast on iTunes as well. So we'll see. All right, thank you guys so much. Make sure to check out all the links in the description. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.
Peace out, guys.
All right, and we're back. Okay, now let's get into current time. The story begins back in 2019 in Japan. So Ryuk returns to Earth more than 10 years after his last visit when Light Yagami died. And he offers a death note to someone called Minoru Tanaka. We're just going to call him Tanaka for simplicity here. Tanaka, in his first encounter with Ryuk, refuses the offer of having the death note. He asks, he tells Ryuk to come back in 2 years. This is after a conversation they had where he informs himself on, can other humans see him? Can other humans see Ryuk? What is the maximum distance that Ryuk can be from him? And you can already see that he has some sort of plan. And it's later on revealed that his plan is to sell the death note. So when Ryuk comes back 2 years later, you know, obviously we get that scene when Light gets his memory back. Tanaka gets his memories back. He's yelling. He's in his room. He's like, oh my God, what's going on? And then everything comes back. So he puts his plan into motion. And the first part of it is the powers of Kira are up for bid. And then we see the police's reaction to that from people who could previously see the death note. I'm talking about Aizawa and Matsuda, those people. So they're still around in the police task force. And they were also around back in the other podcast I did with Ben. So it's cool to see these characters come back in. We also get a little bit from Nier and the whole SPK, you know, the Special Forces Against Kira, I think that's what they were called, and we really get to see his thought process. He's breaking down a little bit of how this egg Kira is. This is what Tanaka is called. How are we gonna like figure it out? How are we gonna get through this? You know, and what I really like about this one shot is that it focuses on the reaction of humanity when they get a chance to acquire the powers of a god, of Kira. When you could actually get the powers of, you know, killing off, we have different nations putting out for bids, and more messages are broadcasted on Sakura TV the same way they were the first time, where with Ryuk showing up in front of the teleprompter, the camera, with a piece of paper, you know, saying 24 hours left, the highest bidder is the United States. The thing is, the big difference I noticed too, and it's also mentioned by Tanaka, but I didn't notice it too, is that, you know, it's not 2006 anymore, early 2010s when this, early 2010s when this manga is happening in real time, because we have CCTV and you can basically track anything on the internet. It's way easier for Akira to be tracked down. So, you know, Tanaka really takes that into consideration. And the other thing too that I noticed with this manga that I enjoy is that, you know, Tanaka kind of is the central character, but I was so happy to see other characters like Matsuda, Nier, and Aizawa coming back into the picture, and just they made very brief appearances, but it made me feel like it was Death Note. You know, those characters are still alive when Death Note ends, and it's good to include them, especially Ryuk, obviously. So the United States ends up winning the bid, and so Ryuk then delivers a death note to the president of the United States, and he lets him know that there is a new rule added in the death note, added in by the king of Shinigami himself. And the rule states the buyer will die when the death note is in their possession. So the president, being a bit of a coward, I guess you would say in the situation, values his own life over the possession of the death note, because what was said by the United States is that we'll bid the highest bid, we'll take the death note, and we will never use it. Like that, it's for sure guaranteed for safety. But also, all the other countries were freaking out because we don't want the U.S. to have it. You know, they want to have it themselves. So when this rule is read to the president, he refuses. But he states that, you know, he'll tell everyone that he acquired the powers of Kira, and now everyone will believe that the United States has the power to kill anyone ever. As a result of the new rule, what occurs, obviously, the book was being sold by Japan, so what happens is that everyone gets wired 1 billion yen, anyone with a valid bank account. And so everyone in Japan's freaking out, and Tanaka receives the money. He's at the ATM, and when he gets the money, he dies. And that's kind of how it ends, you know? You know, Ryu concludes that, you know, it seems that any human who attempts to acquire a death note and use a death note will eventually die. And Ryu himself is the one who writes Tanaka's name in the page of the death note, right under Light Yagami's, because, well, that's the rule. So there's other rules that are also added in because of this new selling the death note situation here. The first one is regarding the memories mentioned in Rule 47. The owner can have their memories of the Death Note erased if they so desire. So that's a new update in the Death Note rules. And also, a god of death should stay near the owner of the Death Note. There's a few episodes in the Death Note manga where Ryuk isn't around Light, and we kind of wonder where he's at. Well, apparently, had that rule been in place, he was at least 14 kilometers away. But I that means like if a Shinigami gives the Death Note to a human, he has to stay on Earth. He can't go back to the Shinigami realm. He's stuck there, you know. So interesting changes of rules in there. I really enjoyed this this one shot manga. I thought it was well put together. I thought that it was ingenious of Tanaka to attempt this. That, you know, he figured out a way to get rid of this Death Note without ever using it, you know, and benefiting from it financially. And it was so smart that the Shinigami King himself had to write new rules in the Death Note to try to figure a way out of it. And, you know, he ends up dying. It wouldn't be Death Note if the Death Note holder doesn't die at the end, if you ask me. So I was very satisfied with this. So I guess up to this point now in 2021, that's where the Death Note universe is done. So from what I can tell, there's going to be a second one. Formally announced in 2018, Death Note was obviously profitable enough to warrant a continuation. And Greg Russo, Death Note 2's writer, recently provided an update. It looks like they are working on a second Death Note Netflix adaptation. Wow. I have articles as late as April 2021, saying that Greg Russo, the writer for the upcoming Death Note 2, says that the sequel will draw more from the source material than the original film did. Wow. So yeah, it's in the works as far as I can tell. This isn't the end of Death Note. In the 2020s, we will get another live action. I don't know how to feel about that because the first one didn't do it for me. We had high hopes, and you heard it. You heard me and Ben discuss that in the Side Anime podcast we did a few years ago. We had high hopes, but I can tell you for myself at least that I wasn't satisfied with it. I hope they do a better job. I hope they really take the criticism to heart, and I'm happy to hear that they'll draw more from the original because it wasn't the right thing in the first live action. So we'll see what that means. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic once more, but my hopes are not that high, to be completely honest. So that's going to be everything for this special episode of the podcast. If you enjoy these revisits, I have two more that I did. I did one on Trigun with GoProKyo, and I did another one where I introduced anime to my cousins. Both were really cool, and I would love to do a little bit of another intro, play this, and then exit out format. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this, and if you do, well, I'll keep it as a backup plan. So that's going to be everything for this episode of the podcast. You can follow the artist of this podcast, GoProKyo, at GoProKyo on Twitter. He's available for commission. He does fantastic artwork. All of his links are in the description, so please go follow him, go support him. You can also follow Hotshot. He's doing live streams over on Twitch. All of his links will be in the description as well. Follow him on Twitter. For myself, I'm at JaianMusic everywhere. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for anime covers and all these awesome things I'm working on. Make sure to check out JaianMusic.com if you would like to hire me for freelance audio and music services. And make sure to follow the podcast on Facebook.com/animepodcasters. Make sure to give us a 5-star review in any of the podcatchers that you listen to us. We also have a survey in the description to let us know your thoughts. And you can also leave us a voicemail that will be in the description as well. Thank you guys so very much for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed. And next time, it'll be more than just me. I promise. So for myself and nobody else, this has been another episode of Anime Podcasters. Bye, guys.